I felt that the sense of control created safety. Grief is such a profound, messy, sometimes chaotic, but absolutely incredible journey. I just need to do something radical because I'm losing myself here. It was like, okay, what is this? I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna learn along the way. Feeling of having a home is something that I've been chasing for.
Hello my friends and welcome to the One-Way Ticket podcast. My name is Liane and in this podcast I like to talk to people about their story behind their one-way ticket. This podcast is inspired by a quote of Steve Jobs which says, "You can't connect the dots looking forward, only looking back." So we dive into the important moments, mindset shifts and choices that led them to take the leap. And together we connect the dots of their story to inspire you to trust yours. And today I'm with Louna. And I met Louna, I think, 3 months ago already. And I remember that I saw you and I saw your tattoo. And the first thing I was asking was, are you a fan of Muse?
It's not uncommon. I had so many people asking me if it was for the band, to be honest. But I don't think I would have put it there. It's such a strong statement.
Yeah.
But I remember I told you it was Muse for the inspiration of the artist and because I claim to be inspiration just because I'm inspiring myself in the first place.
Yeah, that was so funny because I was like, oh, that's so cool that you're such a big fan. And you're like, no. And I think I don't think we stopped talking the whole night about your life because it's incredible to me. Because you told me you were traveling since 19 by yourself all the time, and I was insane.
Yeah, I feel like we started talking with our friend too that I met the both of you there at the dinner, and along the conversation we were just sharing our lives, how we grew up, how we ended up being in Lombok. And I've just been traveling for the past almost 10 years. And I feel like it's always a conversation opener, which is funny for a lot of people. How can I have been already traveling for so long?
Yeah, I want to know everything about it right now. But let's start first with your youth. You also told me that you've been traveling a lot around Switzerland and France when you were younger. How did that happen? Your parents moved around a lot, or?
Basically, my parents, they got together in Thailand. They were living in Thailand, and then I got conceived. My mom was pregnant. They had to go back to France because she didn't want to have me in Thailand. And from there, every year, basically, we moved between Switzerland and France, the south of France. I am born in the Alps, and Switzerland near Lausanne. My father couldn't really stay in one place. And my mom was okay with moving around for work opportunities just because he wanted a change. So I grew up with adaptability in mind, and I guess it gave me the possibility to function in so many different environments and adapt so quickly to new people, new spaces, new communities. So I'm grateful for that. But it also has a downside, which for a long time, stability felt foreign and uncomfortable.
That's actually the opposite of most people. I feel they want stability, and when things change they are uncomfortable.
Yes.
You in your daily life you have the same still, that you're uncomfortable with stability?
A little bit. I find myself sometimes wanting newness, chasing what's the next move, where should I go next. Because when things start to be too stable, too grounded, I have my routine, the people I know, the place I've been exploring, there is almost a alarm ticking at the back. Okay, like, what are we supposed to do now? Where is the growth? Where is the change? Where is movement and adrenaline? So I had to learn, and it's only in the past 3 years that really I almost forced myself to settle in places for longer and allow the discomfort to exist and allow myself to be at peace even when everything is more constant.
And what is for a little bit longer? Like a year, 2 years?
I 3 years ago moved in Verbier, which is a Switzerland ski resort, and I stayed there for almost 2 years, which was the longest I've stayed in one place. In between, I traveled a lot, but I had my base. I had a home, which was new completely, and it was really disturbing at first. But I grew so much through this process that I told myself, okay, I'm gonna find another place that I like, and I'm gonna stay for at least 6 months. I cannot just move every month like I used to be. Like it's too much, to be honest.
I want to go back a little bit to your childhood, because if I imagine you moving around between Switzerland and France, you had your house then? Like when you were in Switzerland, you still had your house in France?
No, we moved each year completely to new places. I haven't grown up in one house, or like I don't have a family house or place. I could go back.
And all your stuff, moving
around all the time. Even right now in life, I'm renting box in Amsterdam, where I have the stuff I accumulated through the years, but I don't have a lot, and I guess my family just don't own a lot materially.
Yeah, I see. Okay, but because when I was younger, I had my stuff in my house, and my mom and dad, or my dad is still in my house, like forever, and I always have my stuff there, and you have your favorite toys, right? When you were a kid, we're always allowed to get them with you.
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's good.
We moved. We took all of our furnitures and everything.
Okay.
We moved houses literally each year with all of our stuff.
And it was just because your dad couldn't stay in one place, or?
Because of his work opportunities, because of projects, because he was feeling like it would be better in this place. We should try this other place. I guess in retrospect, he wanted to raise my sister and myself in Thailand or on an island or traveling around the world. That was his dream.
Yeah.
But my mom, who desired to have more stability and security, she chose to have us in France. And that's why he couldn't settle, because it never felt quite right to him. That's what I believe, and having talked with him, that's what he tells me, like, oh, yeah, it makes sense. So it wasn't because he wanted us to move that much. It just never felt quite at his own place.
Yeah, and you say that you never really had a home, but did you feel at home every time when you were to a new place?
It depends. Some places felt more like home than others. I have some incredible memories in some places, some others that felt a bit like I never fully put my roots in these houses. But the feeling of having a home is something that I've been chasing for so long. And in my 20s, it's been a big quest, finding my home. I went through so many places because I thought, oh, maybe this could be my home. And I think it comes from the fact that I never fully experienced what home is supposed to feel like. So I realized recently that it's not necessarily maybe a place for me. It's it's a regulation inside of me. It's feeling safe and stable inside. I have no idea. It's just I never really could pinpoint a specific place or environment that I can imagine calling home.
I'm thinking also like if I have a definition of feeling home, but I don't think I have either. Like where you feel safe, I guess.
Right now, for me, feeling at home is having learned the tools to regulate my nervous system in all the different places with many different people or environment in order to always be able to come back to a state of calm and peace inside. That's how I could summarize feeling at home, which can change in the future. But I never felt more at home in myself than right now in life.
And what kind of tools you're talking about?
It can come from, and we're going to talk about it, writing for me is such a specific tool I'm using, but also breathing. Presence, I would say, is the most important. Just coming back to presence, allowing what I'm feeling without taking actions upon my emotions, which I used to be really frantic and be like, I'm feeling this. I need to go, I need to leave, I need to run away, and I feel right now I can sit with all of my emotions and allow them to happen and bring myself here, make me feel safe again, and call this like my home is here. It's not somewhere I need to chase.
Yeah, I see. So, but that's really good of you, I think, because you never learn to, I guess, with moving all the time and then chasing changing friends all the time, because you make friends and then a year after you leave, so you don't have a long time with people. So not really connection, stability, and then finding a home somewhere.
Yes.
I guess it's super hard.
I think in this way it was hard. I just wasn't aware it was hard because there was no other reality I was experiencing than my own.
Yeah,
so
you were used to it.
Yeah, for me, like, it's only growing up and realizing, oh, I really, really want to belong in a community. Maybe it comes from the place where I never felt I had enough time to build those such strong friendship that someone who has grown up in the same village, going to the same school and seeing the same friends throughout all their childhood would have.
Yeah.
So it's only later. When I was going through it, yes, I was sometimes hating on my parents and being extremely mad. I was a really vocal child. When we would move and I made some friends I liked. But then I arrived in a new place and, you know, as a child, I believe we adapt quite well to our environment. And I was just like, okay, I guess this is my new place for now and I should just embrace it.
Yeah, so every year you moved?
Quite, yeah.
And then, so every year new school?
Almost every year, yeah.
Well, it must be so hard.
It's hard thinking about it, but I promise you, it didn't feel that hard for me. Again, my family were really supportive. My parents were there and present. I was just following along. And in the end, what is hard for me now may be really easy for you, but what was easy for you may be harder now because we had different upbringing.
Yeah, because in high school, I did a certain level of school, and the first 3 years was in another school than the last 2 years.
Okay.
So after 3 years high school, I moved to a bigger school, And I think I needed at least maybe 6 months to adapt. I was stressed all the time, and I felt so... I don't know. It was too big, too many new people, and I don't know. But you had that actually every year, I guess. But then you get used to it.
I got used to it, and it's like when I see those children on surfboard at like 8 years old, you know, and they are shredding and they are so good at it. They don't even question what surf, how to do it. They just are naturally used to it because being on there since the beginning. And I feel for me, I learned social skills and adaptation as a natural skill that developed along the first years of my life.
Yeah, I see.
So I didn't have that much worry or like fear or anxiety just because I was programmed this way. Like it's a bit like pragmatic, but in the end, like we are programmed as children by how our first lives were created, and me, that was that.
Yeah, I think, it's the program, because my program says, but then you have to make friends in school, in a new school where everyone knows each other, and then you're like the outsider, and everyone has already friends or their friend group, and you have to fit in somewhere, and that takes a little bit of time, and then you find your place, and then you move again. But for you, I think maybe it's easier to jump right into a group or anything like that, or you were more...
It was hard.
How does your program work?
It was hard many times. When I first arrived, I was always the newcomer, who is this girl? Sometimes even arriving in mid-year of school. No, oh, there is a new one in the class. And I, hey, Luna, hi. Hi, everyone. Of course, I was so stressed the first few days, and I was anxious, would I find new friends? Would I belong there? And the different parts of France, or I guess Netherlands, or any countries, the mentalities shift. It's different. What is good for certain place is not really like cool for others, and whatever. So I was always a bit like, ooh. But I learned the skill of observation and of listening around, of the first few days, like more being like taking a step back and analyzing. And then I just learned that if I just remain myself and don't force anything, then I would in the end make friends and just let it happen. But it was not linear. Some years were easier than others. As a child, it was easier than when I was a teenager, because as teenagers, we just build those like comparison and weird behaviors between all of us. It's just how I was brought up, and yeah.
And how do you do your observations for people? Do you still use the same kind of strategy and observation, meeting new people everywhere you go?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's something that is embedded in myself. I learned how to evaluate how someone is open to my presence. And I think that was a skill that I developed as a child, to know, can I be friend with this person? And quite quickly, because I'm running out of time. So I guess I learned how to read body language and to find signs that could declare openly if someone is able to receive me, open to make a connection, engage, be open-minded, because I wasn't shaped in a mold by staying in one place with the same people. I was a bit of all of the places I grew up and all of the people that were around. So sometimes I felt a bit different in this sense of just not really knowing which identity I carried. And that's where the observation skills were good to develop, because I could pretty much just take a few days, observe in class the people, the groups of people, how they acted together. And then I always found, usually girls, that were quite curious about me and wanted to talk to me, and just letting it happen.
What kind of body language you see that you think, okay, they're interested in being friends, like they're open?
I'm someone who loves to look at people in the eyes, because for me it represents presence in the moment and the allowing to be seen by me.
Yeah.
And therefore build a kind of straightforward connection. It doesn't mean that I cannot build connection with people who don't naturally, because I know some people are shy. It's just that I have quite a direct personality. And at this time, because I would leave pretty much every year, as I said, I wanted to make friends quite quickly. So it was easier to connect with people that were quite direct, open. Hey, I am here, look at me, I'm daring to be seen, I have nothing to hide, kind of.
Ah, I see. Okay.
And I would usually orient myself with those. I wouldn't try to go for the people that looked a certain way, or it was just like, oh, do I feel like it's easy with you to connect? And then I would just go for that.
Yeah, I have the same. But with some people, it's just, you don't have to put any effort to connect. And then I'm like, okay, let's go.
Yeah. And I also learned the hard way by trying to go with a certain types of people that I considered were cool or the best, the ones I wanted to be associated with. And I ended up just draining myself. And I was like, okay, no, it's not supposed to be that hard to make friends and have connections, I believe.
Okay. And so you've been hopping around all the time, and at some point I feel like you are done with school and then you want to explore the world, I guess, because you're used to it. You're not comfortable with staying in one place. So what did you do when you were done with all the things you have to do as a kid?
Basically, it didn't necessarily happen in this easy road. I lost my mom when I was 14, and it was a turning point, as you can imagine, in my life. And I went from being an open, bright, active, social child as more of a reserved and shy person. And I saw the light leaving myself, just retracting inside. She passed away when I was 14. And so from 14 to 19, I went to live with my dad in the south of France. And I started to control more my life based on expectations, what others had in mind for me. Until I realized at 19 that I reached a point where I wasn't living the life that I wanted, and it didn't resemble me at all. Where had I been? Like, where did I lose myself on this path? And so I remember one night I was in a business school in Cannes, and I just had this click, and I told myself, if I'm not doing something, I'm just gonna end up in 10 years waking up in a body and a life that I cannot even that I don't even recognize. And so I called my dad in the morning and I told him, okay, I just need to do something radical because I'm losing myself here. I'm not happy. I don't even know what emotions are anymore. I'm so closed up inside. I haven't grieved. I haven't processed any of these emotions in 5 years. Something needs to happen. And I'm going to take a one-way ticket flight to Australia. 1 month later, I was on the plane. No idea what was going to happen. I first made a stop in Mauritius Island when my dad was leaving. And I went there with my best friend. We stayed in Mauritius for 1 month. And then we were on our way to Australia with, I remember, 700 euros in my bank account. Not a single idea, not a single worry, nothing. That was insane. But I was just so happy to feeling the thrill of life again, to feeling like I was looking forward something.
You said your mom died when you were 14. Was it suddenly, or was she ill, or what happened?
She got a leukemia, which is a blood cancer. And when they first diagnosed her, she had supposedly 1 month left.
Oof.
But then she fought, and it lasted for 1 whole year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I feel I had the time. Can you really have the time to realize your mom is gonna die? No. But I could, in the sense, kind of predict something would happen either way. And yeah, when she passed, it was a shock, but I straight away embodied the role of the mom for my younger sister, which made it harder to process my own grief. And that's why it took so long, and I pushed it away, and I just didn't know how to deal with it.
Yeah, but that's understandable. You were like 14.
Yeah.
So that's... It would be surprising to me if you were at 14 and were like, okay, I need to grieve now, and I know exactly how I should do that.
Yes. Would be really strange. But at the time, I thought I was able to manage, really assured, yeah, all is fine. Yeah, it's going to be cool, 5 years later, I'm just like empty and drained and a void. I'm just like, okay, maybe something needs to happen.
And you say at 19, you didn't really had grieved from the loss of your mom. Do you remember when you felt like, shit, I actually need to?
I just felt a profound emptiness. And the only joy or sense of purpose or excitement I could look for was through partying with my friends, shopping, therefore money and consumption. I don't know if I can say smoking, or just anything that wasn't about being here and now and present. And this, whenever I would go through like a high, do something that was like, woo, then the low would just hit me back. And this neutrality was a void of any sort of contentment, emotion, anything. I couldn't feel things. And it would be so short-lived every time I felt an emotions. And in the end, I ended up having a great life for 19 years old. I was living in my own apartment in front of the sea in Cannes. I had a boyfriend since 3 years, and he loved me, and I loved him. And I was in a business school. I had my little car. Like, everything was incredible. I also had the inheritance from my mom. So a lot of money for 19 years old that I burned in 1 year completely. But on the paper that was incredible, inside of me, I didn't have any aim, any goal. I couldn't see myself doing anything. And I reached a point where I had to question myself. Where does it come from? Why? Why I cannot seem to be able to be alive? And pretty quickly, it ended up coming back to the time my mom passed. And every time I would touch a bit, then I would have waves of emotion. Now I wouldn't be able to feel. But did I want to feel this? No. That's why I've been trying to, for so long, push it back. But that was the only way to feel again. Because every time I scratched it a bit, here they are, all of them. So I guess the more I scratch, the more I accept, the more I bring it back, the more I will be able to feel again. Was I ready before? I wasn't. So I think it just happened in the perfect timing, to be honest.
Did you explore this all by yourself, or you had a coach, therapist, or?
I explored it with my friends, and especially my best friend who I went to Australia with. I think we came from different backgrounds, but quite messy emotionally. And we were able to relate to each other for the first time in this regard and feel like, wow, someone gets me to the core of it. And therefore, if I am not alone, if there is someone, there must be others. And therefore, like, okay, there is a way out. Like, I can function as a human being. Like, I'm not broken.
Yeah. And so the way you, if I understood right, to handle grief is just feel all the emotions that are coming.
I think grief is such a profound, messy, sometimes chaotic, but absolutely incredible journey, to be honest. And it shaped me in the way I am today. And for this, I am extremely grateful. Grief, it's not just feeling the emotions that I buried or leave them and allow them to happen. It's being so close to death that it made me consider what life is about so young. And it allowed me to just put in perspective everything and reconsider what is all of this? What matters in the end? It allowed me to open my mind because I remember wondering, so where is she now? What's after this? All of those questions that I couldn't escape. And therefore do some research and allow myself to dance with those thoughts. It just, I think grief is not something to go through, but to dance with for the rest of my life. Yeah.
So you say there's not really an end of grieving.
I think there is a moment where I could feel, wow, even if I talk about it like now, even if I think of it, I don't have any emotional charge anymore. I felt everything that needed to feel, which means sometimes crying to the expense of my whole system collapsing, or having like anger, joy, like crazy high emotions. But I also sometimes feel that I am just a human being who misses my mom. I wish I could talk to her sometimes, know who she was at my age. And I'm thinking of like those big steps in my life. And I'm like, fuck, could be nice if she was here. That would be fun if she was here. So it just those like moments where I feel grief hit again. And especially when I transition through new phases of my life, it would be amazing to have this support, but it's also such a gift to have to learn to provide for myself the comfort, the support, the motherly love, all of those that I've missed. I've learned, therefore, to really pinpoint what is it that I miss and to learn the different tools along the journey of providing this for me.
Yeah, that's really brave. Not brave is not a good word, but I don't know the right word. It's really, how you say this? When you're doing a really good job.
Thank you.
You also told me that you wanted to control a lot of things after your mom died. Do you remember why?
I felt that the sense of control created safety. That the more I controlled, the less I left to the uncertainty. And therefore, the least surprises from life could happen. And so I just entered this highly vigilant, alert person phase in my life where I wanted to control everything, but because I believe there are always two poles, the more extreme I went into the control mode, the more I developed one of the tendencies that lingered with me for such a long time, which is dissociation. So I found ways to dissociate where I would completely surrender control in moments, through party, through drugs, through other aspects, even through having a crush or anything that would allow me to just surrender control for a moment.
So if I understand right, you try to control everything, and then at the same time there was things that you really took out of control. Like
it was, I hated myself for not having control all the time, but I seeked control more than anything, while I wasn't able to fully control everything. No one is able to fully control everything. Therefore, in the moment where I would lose a little bit of control, I wanted more. I wanted to lose completely myself.
Ah, I see.
So I went from like this pendulum of extreme control and then complete surrender. And it wasn't in a healthy, sane way, or so the kind of temperance I have found right now in life. It was just bang, bang, bang.
Yeah. And what kind of things you wanted to control the most? Do you remember?
Many things. I wanted to control the way I was perceived by others. That was a big thing. I wanted to control others in general. I wanted to control, I would say it was always about other people in some sort of ways. Like me regarding others and the way they live their life. And I would use a lot of mental space for this because I needed to fuel my mind with other things than what I truly felt inside of me, which was emptiness. And so I created like mind games about what do those people think of me and how can I become better and more perfect so they wouldn't think anything less. And with the people I loved, how can I make them perfect?
That takes a lot of energy, I think.
Oh, tremendous amount. Maybe I wanted to control this because it's the thing that I quickly found out would take the most energy and I needed to have things in my mind so I wouldn't think about the things I didn't want to think about.
And those were?
Those were emotions. Because it was easier to think than to feel.
Oui. I have
Yeah.
to say, it's so easy to think.
I was like, give me more thoughts. I can handle more. Yeah.
I have the same. I have so much the same. Yeah, because
Feeling it was like, oh,
yeah.
okay, what is this? And whenever I would feel, it was not controlled at all. It was all over the place in such highs of feeling. Like sadness, I would be completely depressed, and then anger, I would be a crazy person. And so I was like, okay, I need to chill out. And so I would bury those feelings in between with all the thoughts. Therefore, there was no space to feel anything. So when they would come out, it was crazy. Yeah.
Okay. And but you say you lived in Cannes and your dad lived in an island somewhere.
He moved when I was 18 to Mauritius Island, which
I still don't know.
It's an island near South Africa. And I went to visit him many times along the years. He stayed there for 9 years, which meant that from 18 I was living by myself. And I stayed in Cannes for a bit less than 2 years after he moved.
And your sister was with him?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. You didn't feel alone in Cannes?
I seeked loneliness in some ways. I was quite happy when they moved. I felt like, okay, now I have no responsibilities whatsoever. I can go into my most chaotic self, which was really liberating at the moment. Because having my sister and my dad, there was still a part of me that needed to please them or act in some sort of ways. And being on my own, by myself, was like, okay, now time to just completely let go. So, no, I didn't feel alone. I was quite happy on the moment.
Okay. Well, luckily, I thought in that sense. But then you went with 700 euros to Australia, and I think that's also interesting.
Yeah.
Because 700 euros, I think you can do 2 weeks.
Yeah, pretty much.
How did that work out?
Oh my god. So basically, I was absolutely reckless and obnoxious about
A little bit.
money in general, I would say. We left. I think my friend, she had a bit more, maybe 1,000 euro, and me 700. And I was really confident. It's gonna work out. We're gonna figure out, find a job in the next 2-3 days, and that's it. Which didn't happen like that at all. We ended up staying in hostels. The first one was called the Asylum, which really carried his name brightly. Crazy people there. And the immersion with Australia was complete and quite brutal. We arrived for New Year's, around New Year's, ended up partying and discovering nightlife in Sydney and having fun, making our money less and less day by day, until the moment where we reached zero.
You really reached zero?
Yeah. We were eating sandwich with crisp inside and counting our money for like things to do, and had to start stealing, wondering are we gonna be able to afford sleeping one more night in the hostel. And the mom of my friend sent us money, enough at least to have like somewhere to sleep. We decided, okay, now it's time to put our resume to the maximum of places, restaurants around. Luckily, I think maybe 4 or 5 days later, I got a job offered in an Irish pub. Really cool place. And after my first shift, I asked the boss if they were trying to hire, which they did with my friends. So we ended up working for 5 months in this place and didn't really save a lot of money. We were really on this road of partying and having fun. I mean, we were 20-year-old in Australia, in Sydney. First time around the world on our own. What do you expect, really? But having a lot of fun, and I think I just, even in those moments of like, what am I gonna do next? Where we didn't know if we would be able to sleep inside in the night, or like it was so long, I hadn't felt again something that I remember we're just laughing, of course, in between moments of pure drama and reconsideration of our whole life. But then there was just this ecstasy and euphoria of, oh my God, what if we sleep outside? And what's next?
I don't think I will do everything to avoid sleeping outside in fucking Australia. Because the thought of sleeping outside and there's a fucking snake, spider, I don't know what else is there, all like crocodiles.
I mean, we were in Sydney in the full city center, so there was no snake or spider, but there were crazy people. And yeah, it didn't happen never because we found our ways, because we would talk to people, because I ended up contacting some friends that I knew from friends there that ended up hosting us for 2 weeks, and then another person, and then we made friends and started earning money because you are paid weekly in Australia. So also that was a good thing. Like after the first week of work, we finally had some money and like could afford to find a room in a share house. And yeah, just I don't regret anything, to be honest. I think it was the first time where I only had to depend on myself, and I knew that my dad wouldn't have even helped me. I wanted to do this by myself, no matter what. And those moments, they were important, so that I could like carry a bit more responsibility and learn that, okay, there is a certain moment where money needs to have priorities. And I cannot just like, oh, I'm hungry, we only have $20, but let's go eat something out. Like, no. There are moments where you need to segment and make budgets, which I didn't know how to at this time.
And now you do, because you've been traveling for 9 years. I feel like you have to have a little bit money for traveling around.
I feel that I am slowly learning, yes. Money has been a big thing. I always found my way towards money just because I am, when needed, a hard worker. And I'm quite cunning in the sense of finding how I can create money. But I'm also, I know, a big spender. I love to be in nice thing and have my little comfort. And it's not because I'm traveling that I need to only sleep in hostels and have minimal comfort. I went through those years, don't get me wrong, where no money whatsoever. But in the last, I would say, 2 years, I've been really learning the way around money and how to manage my expectations and find compromises, which allowed me to save, to be more mindful, and to feel like I can continue having this lifestyle while creating enough money to sustain it.
Yeah, nice. So money is not a huge big thing anymore.
I feel no. I feel like I'm feeling good with money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm earning enough to maintain the life, enough to save a bit and invest a bit. I'm feeling like safe in this regard.
Yeah, nice. Okay, we have a huge story, and I want to connect the dots with you.
Yes.
I think the first one, then, it's not one specific thing, but you've been traveling around all the time. I think that really helped in the skills you have to have this lifestyle right now. And then I think the one that your mom died.
Yes.
And then I think, I don't know what it is, what exactly happened when you were 19 that you decided, okay, I'm gonna quit everything what I'm doing right now, because I think you also quit your school then because you were going to travel. So I wanted to ask you if you have any advice for people who are going to who are grieving right now. What is your best advice you can give them?
Oh, that's such a beautiful question. I think my advice would be to allow themselves to ask themselves those important questions and not try to avoid these. The questions, existential question that comes with grief, because I think that's the gift of grief. And from allowing those questions to arise, to allow them to feel, because there is no emotions that are out of touch from grief. Grief is gonna make them feel absolutely every emotion on the spectrum of emotion, and to trust time. I think it's cliche to say that time heals everything, but time really does make a great job when we use it, not when we try to escape it. And so, yeah, by sitting one day after another, taking one day after another, and sitting with how grief feels on this day, I think it just starts to become lighter and lighter day after day, until there is a moment where I can narrate this story and not feel any sadness, any emotions regarding it. It's just part of my story, and I'm grateful it is.
That's beautiful. And also I want to know how you get so much confident to leave to Australia with 700 euros.
I think at the time it was survival.
Yeah.
It was survival. I knew that I needed to leave more than I needed to be prepared to leave. And I took this leap of faith where I knew that once I would be there, I would figure it out. No matter what, I wouldn't abandon myself, because I made the biggest and most scary decision, that was to leave in the first place. The worst was behind. I did it. I left. So I knew that there I would find my way. Yeah, and I think it's something that I carry still to this day. And maybe the biggest skill I developed, which is I'm not waiting to be prepared for something. I'm not waiting to be the person that can accomplish this. I'm just gonna tell myself I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna learn along the way. Or, yeah, I don't have the money to do this, but I'm gonna just take the first step and see how I can create. And I think that's how I become the person that I envision I want to be.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for your story.
Thank you.
I really loved it.
I loved it.
And thank you for watching. You can like and subscribe if you want to see more, and I hope to see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.